Hello. If you can hear me, please just let me know if you can hear me, if you can see me. Just let me know before we start. Okay, just say hi, say hello. You can just say hi, say hello. So let me know that you can hear me before we start, before we go ahead. Okay, so just let me know. Okay, thank you guys for coming up. Okay, so this tutorial, like I said, so because of the way I'm setting my camera, I'll have to be moving my pattern paper up and down so you'll be able to see it clearly. All right, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you. Let me put on my glasses so I can see properly. Okay, so thank you. Yeah, hi, hello, hi, hello. Okay, now so we're going to begin now. So we're going to be cutting a female trouser for beginners. So I have my pattern paper here, so I'm just going to go ahead and move it like this so you'll be able to see it nicely up and down. So when you want to cut a trouser, so the first thing we're going to do, if you notice our paper, we're going to be starting all of our measurements from this side. We're going to be moving them towards this part. So I have some lines already on my pattern. So this first line here is going to serve as my waist line. And then this is my hip line. So I'll tell you the measurement. And then this is my crouch line. And then this other line that we have here is our knee line. Okay? So the measurement that I'm going to be making use of, I'm going to be making use of hip 40. So that hip 40, and then the waist is 30. And then our lap, we're going to use 13, which is 26. So when you want to cut out a trouser, the first thing you do is you're just going to your crouch measurement. So for the crouch measurements, that's the flap, you divide your hip measurement into 4. So you divide your hip measurement into 4, and then you can add about 2 inches if it is a normal waist trouser that you're making. But if it is a high waist, you can add more than 2 inches. So for this, we're just going to do a normal pants because this is like a beginner project. So if you can hear me, if you can see me, please say hi, let me know. Just drop your comments. And again, something I want to say, for this our live sections, I want you guys to drop your comments on what kind of live videos you want me to make on this channel. Just drop your comment on the comment section. I will appreciate that. Will help me to know what kind of live videos we should go ahead and create for this. Okay, so now let's start imputing all of our measurements. So like I said, the first measurement is our waist measurement. So we're going to come like this. So these are the measurements. So I used 1.5 inches out. I measured 1.5 inches out because of my waistband. And then from my waist to the first line I have here is 9 inches, which is for the hip. And then the crouch, like I explained, is 12 inches. That's from the waist to the crouch is 12 inches. Okay, so please, if you can see me, if you can hear me, it's like the connection went out a little bit. Please let me know. Please let me know. So the knee, like I said, is 20 inches. So the connection keeps going off and on. It's 20 inches. So now let's just start imputing our measurement. And then the full length of our trouser, I'm using 44 inches so you can see it. So let's start. So our waist is, so what we do, the first thing, I'll come to the waistline. So I'll come in by 1 inch here. Just mark 1 inch inwards like this. Okay, sorry. Okay, yeah. So you can see it now. I'll come in by 1 inch, and then I'll come to my hip line like this also. So for the hip line, I'll mark, for the hip line, I'm not going to mark anything. I'll leave that part. And then for this knee line also, sorry, for the crouch line, I'm not going to mark anything. I'll leave it like this. And then I'll come to the knee line like this. On the knee line, I'm going to mark 2 inches. So this will help to give our trouser a good shape. And then on this down part, I'm going to come in by 1.5 inches. So I hope you understand. So the next thing we're going to do now, we're going to connect all of the lines. So this 1.5 inches like this, so you can see it's 1.5 inches down, 2 inches here for the knee. So I'll connect them like this, and then I'll move it like this so you'll be able to see it. And then on this side, I'll come like this. So on this part, I'm not going to use my sharp ruler. So if you can hear me, please say hi. Once you come online, just say hi. So on this part like this, I'm going to shape this part because this is my hip part, you understand? So I'll give it a nice shape like this to come to that knee point, and then on this part like this, I would join these two. Okay, yeah, so I will join this to the waist part so you can see the shape that we have. I hope you can see what I'm doing. So you just give it that shape. So once you come online, say hi, say hello. If you can see me, if you can hear me, please let me know, so I'll be able to do this nicely. So we're done with that part. The next thing we're going to do now, we're going to insert our waist measurement. So for the waist measurement, I'm using, like I said, I'm using 30 inches, which is 7.5. So that's 7.5. I'll come to this top part. So I'll just, okay, yeah. So I'll come to the good thing of life is I'll be able to see what I'm doing. So I'll come to this part. I'm using 7.5 because my waist is 30. So I'll mark my 7.5 here. Because I'm going to add that to this, I'm going to add about 1.5 inches that on this point like this. So I'll add my 1.5 or 2 inches, depends on how big you normally add your allowance. I'll add it here. After adding it here, and then I'll come to those points like this. On this point like this, I'm going to mark my hip measurement. So the hip we're using is 40, like we said. So you come to the edge like this, and then you mark that 10 inches, your hip divided into 4. I'm using 40. You mark 10 inches here, and then depends on the allowance. You know I use 1.5 here, so let's repeat the 1.5 here also. I'll mark this. After marking this, so I hope you can see this, please. So I'm just going to, I'll use dotted lines like this. Just curve this in first, so it's not confusing. So I'll curve it. Then on this, on our crouch line, we're adding our lap measurement. So the lap measurement, you're going to divide it into 2, not into 4. So once you can see me, please hit on the like button, share this video, and then just drop a comment so know that the connection is still on, please. That you can see me, you can hear me. So like I said we're using 26 inches for our lap. As you measure your lap round 26 inches, when you divide into 2, you have 13. So this is 13 inches now on the crouch line. You mark your 13 inches, and then I'm going to add that same 1.5 inches allowance I've been using. So here is what I'm just going to do now. So I'll use my pattern curve to give it a nice curve like this. So I'll place my pattern curve like this, so you can see I'm placing that pattern curve, and then I'm marking it into this point like this. You can use your pant curve also if you have it. So I'll mark it like this. So we are done with that. The next thing we're going to insert now is the same lap measurement. So we're using 13 inches. So you come to your knee line like this. So for your knee line, if you want the pants to be the same, you can decide to use the same lap measurement that you use for your knee part. So but for this, I'm just going to reduce it a little bit. So I'll use 11.5 for my lap. So I'll mark the 11.5 here, and then I'll add my 1.5 inches allowance that I've been using, okay, here. And then I'll connect like this. So I hope you can see it. I'll connect it like this. Please let me know if you can see me, if you can hear me, let me know. And then I'll mark it like this. And then the next thing, we're going to come to the down part. So I'm going to move my pattern up a little bit now. Okay, so this is the down part. So I hope you can see. Yeah. So the next thing, I will come to the down. So this is like the nip of the down part. So what you will do, you are going to determine how wide you want the down part of your trouser to be. If it is a straight cut, so what you are just going to do, you take what you have on the knee part like this. That you measure what you have, exactly what you have here on the knee, and then you are going to bring it to this down. So mine is actually that 13 inches. So I'll bring that 13 inches to this down part like this, and then I'm going to place it here like this. You understand? So I'll place it here. So after placing it here, now I'll just take my straight ruler like this, and then I'll mark it, I'll connect it together. I hope you can see. That's from this point now to this point. So if you can still hear me, please let me know. Please, for those of you that are watching, please drop a comment. Let me know that I'm not talking to myself, please. You can just say hi. You can say hello. You can just wave. You can drop an emoji. So you connect it like this to those down parts. So 13 inches. So you can see this is how simple it is to do this. So you can see how simple it is to draw to actually measure or like draft out your trouser. So the next thing we're going to do now, we're going to add our back pattern on this same piece. So in adding the back pattern, so what we're going to do, we're going to come to this side. So our crouch measurement, okay, thank you guys for coming online. Thank you, I really appreciate it. So on this part like this, I'm going to come. So this is our front pattern already. So the next thing we're going to do now, so for the front pattern, I'm going to shape the waist of the front pattern. So what we'll do, we'll come to this side now of our piece. So I'm going to come down by 1 inch. So that 1 inch, here is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to mark it like this into my waist line. Just like your skirt, you know when you shape out because of the tummy, you just shape that out. So that's the essence of doing that. And then we have a 1 inch dart here already. So the next thing now, we're going to do the back. It is a very simple process. So for the back, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to add 1.5 inches or 2 inches to my crouch. So it depends on how tight I want it to be. So for this, I'm going to do 1.5. So I'm just going to come to those points like this. I'll mark this, but I'm going to float it into that part. I'll come to this down part like this. I'll mark my 1.5 inches. So you can see on this line like this, I'll mark my 1.5 inches here. And then, you understand? So you can see what I'm doing. I'm just marking it. So as I'm coming up, my 1.5 inches. So this 1.5 inches, depends if you want to add a zip to the back, you can make it 2 inches. So you'll be able to take a little bit out of it to create your zip allowance. So I'll come, so as I get to the top part, I'm going to reduce it with about 1 inch. So I'll reduce it, and then I'll use my curve also, just like I did. Okay, so the connection went out a bit. I guess it's the internet. So please, if you can see me, please let me know. I will appreciate it. So before we continue again, so for the crouch, so after coming to this top part, you can use 1 inch between this top part and this part, or you can just use half of an inch. So mine, I use 1 inch, but if I'm cutting something like a palazzo, I'll make it a little bit smaller. Okay, so I'll just connect it. So all of those points that I marked now, you can see. So I'm going to connect them to these points like this. That's for the back crouch. So I'll connect it like this. So once I get to this point now, this part now, I'm just going to like float it a little bit into this part like this. And then I want you to note when I'm cutting my back pattern, I'm going to add, that's when I'm transferring it to my fabric, I'm going to add 1 inch to my back pattern. I'll just add 1 inch on top, and then it goes like this, just 1 inch on top of it. So that's that. And then I'll come to this point, and then the next thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to take my long ruler, and then I'm going to just do this like a V, so you can see what I have. Just on the down part, I'm not going to come in, I'm not going to use 1.5 inches on the down part. No, for the down part, I'll just use 1 inch used. So I'll just use 1 inch on this part like this. Okay. Yeah, you can see I will just use one part on this down part, and then I'll take that 1 inch on this part, and then I'll float it into that point of our 1.5 for our front. That's for the back crouch. And then I'll just mark this out like this, so you can see how easy it is. So this is our front pattern, and then this is our back pattern. So when I want to cut now, what I will do, I'll cut the back first, place it on my fabric, and then cut it out, and then before I'll place the front, and then cut the front out. So if you want to add a pocket to this, I'll show you how to add a pocket to this. Okay, so for the pocket, if you want to add a pocket, what you are going to do, you're just going to come to this right hand side, and then you are going to take about, depends on how wide you want your pocket to be, about 6 inches. At times I use 6 or 7 inches. I'll mark it like this. on this part like this, I'll just mark it, and then on this part like this, I'll just come in by 1.5. So it depends on how open I want my trouser pocket to be. I'll just cut this off. So that is how you add a pocket to this. Okay guys, so we are literally done with this our live class. So like I said, just drop your comments on what you want to see on our upcoming live class. So thank you so much. So if you want to cut, I'll cut this out now for you to see how it's going to look like. So it was really difficult for me to be able to place the camera, so I'll be able to, you guys be able to see everything that I'm doing. So this is the pocket. So when you cut out the pocket like this, so maybe in an upcoming class, if you want us to sew this, you can drop a comment for me, and then we'll sew. So for the dart, just take the center and then add your dart. So thank you so much guys. I've now come to the end of this our live class. Please, if you find this video helpful, hit on the like button. Like I said, drop your comments, what you want to see. Thank you so much guys. I'll see you in my next class. So most of these live classes, I'm going to be doing them strictly for beginners. Thank you so much. I'll see you in my next class.